Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's What the Fuck forecast. So I'm gonna be using these decks here. One is for what is the current what the fuck energy, what is the hidden energy behind it, what is the lesson or the purpose, and then how we can shift those what the fuck moments into a blessing. So I'm gonna start. So what is the current what the fuck energy? And I feel like there's definitely a lot of what the fuck moments right now happening to the collective because I feel like time is running out. I do feel like everyone has to be at a certain level before January or entering, 2021. So what is the current what the fuck energy? So we have, I saw this one, so let's see. And we have stand your ground. So stand your ground. So I definitely feel like people are feeling a little wobbly. I almost feel like this is definitely almost like a tower thing, because if everything that you're working towards is built on a very flimsy foundation, things crumble. Okay, so in order to stand your ground, the foundation has to be firm. So I feel like the collective is definitely going through this kind of, maybe it's the wrong word, but like a deconstruction of the self. Because whatever habits, whatever programming we have undergone through our lives, I feel like right now, this year was definitely like a ripping off the mask. So it's like, even if you didn't want the mask to be ripped off, the universe is like, we're not doing that right now. Okay, we're gonna rip it off. Okay. So I definitely feel like a lot of people are going through a very huge transformational stage where it's basically like whatever we thought we were, now we're coming to realize that either it's not serving us anymore, and we have to really start to dig deep and really see where we are, who we really are, and where we want to become, and just basically our authenticity. I'm going to take this earring off because I don't want to scrape it against the microphone. Okay, done. So I definitely feel like the ground is shaking for a lot of people. And so even if you feel like it's shaking and things are kind of crazy, still try to hold your ground. Definitely by being more grounded, more centered, doing things that give you peace and tranquility and make you feel more stable. So I definitely feel like there's a lot of energy where there may be people who are so used to the old you and they want you to stay the same. But if you're really firm about where you want to go, then you need to stand your ground. Okay. And if you see, you have this man here and he has the staff, which I always associate that with victory, being, courageous and having that, if you see his stance, having that courage and that bravery to stand against adversary, because I feel like this is coming towards him, so definitely a lot of you may be feeling like there's a lot of adversary happening, there's a lot of butting heads, so definitely, like, even with all the crumbling of your tower right now, just try to be fearless, and understand the higher purpose of it. Like, this, everything is shifting right now, so you definitely have to find your grounding in order to get through this chaotic time. You don't want to lose your footing, so you want to stand strong and centered. Okay, so definitely there's like a lot of craziness happening. So, you might have to cut off, relationships, people, perhaps even change jobs. Because a lot of things are just basically really showing things for what they are, people for what they are, basically giving you a look on what kind of state of being you're living in right now, what kind of life you're leading. And so I feel like it's basically showing people like, this is the life you're living right now. You need to change that shit you know, so a lot of chaos is happening, but you definitely need to keep your ground, because know that it's temporary. You know, this shifting is never permanent. You know, shifting is a constant thing. So it's like it'll shift and it'll stop, you know, so you just have to just hold on for the ride. Okay, so then we're going to go, what is the hidden energy behind that? What the fuck, you know, like that chaos and losing your footing. So what is the like hidden energy behind the losing your footing? And I saw this card here. Okay, and we have sadness and isolation. So definitely the hidden energy behind this deconstruction of self, you may be feeling a lot of sadness, anxiety, depression. You may find yourself like really questioning everything, not just, you know, society as a whole or outside of you, but definitely within you. You may be feeling isolated. Okay, so definitely, like, if you know you're not grounding yourself enough and you're not standing your ground, you may feel like, you know, you're succumbing to that chaos, you know. So definitely try to breathe through and release, because you see, like, this person is crouching, but then this person here is like the reflection of this person is like wanting to be free. So you, in order to break free of these old habits and patterns and things, you have to allow it to happen. You know, you have to release what is happening. Okay, so, you know, I always recommend like breath work and you know, things that make you feel more grounded. So it could be exercise, it could be, you know, yoga, breath work, you know, perhaps even eating right. You know, changing your diet can definitely help you feeling more healthy, because if you're healthy, if you feel fresh and healthy inside, it's going to reflect on the outside. So the hidden energy behind this chaos, you know, you definitely are feeling sadness and probably wanting to become a hermit and feeling more isolated. But you need to let these things happen. You know, you need to allow yourself to be free of these emotions, because it sort of hinders the process. Okay, because if you are resisting this change, it's sort of like it's going to get worse because it's like a force, you know. And if you're resisting, the pressure is going to get even worse, and it's going to get more and more. So it's better to just say, like, let me just get it over with, you know, and just try to feel things, feel it and release, feel it and release, feel it and release. Because even though, you know, this person's in sadness, but when you release it, you know, you have like the golden light, you know, and you're free, you know. So try to do your best and try to show up for yourself. I know there's a lot of pressure right now, you know, because I feel like the transition from mask to authenticity, it's really difficult, extremely difficult. Okay, so just try to breathe through it. Definitely try to do like self-talk, you know, talk to yourself, you know, why do I feel like this? And it's okay, it's only temporary. I will eventually be okay. You know, this is all just a shift, and I just have to release control, because, you know, this person has their hands open. So definitely try to release control and just do your best. Like, try to flow to the direction of your dreams. You know, go in that direction. You know, don't resist too much, because then it's just, the pressure's just gonna like pile and pile and pile, and then you're gonna be like, oh God, it's gonna be worse. And, you know, when you don't release, you will find yourself even more in isolation and more in sadness. So, I mean, if you're going to be isolated, try to be constructive about it. You know, try to use this as a healing period, you know, where you can really go through all the old habits and generational trauma and all the stuff that you have within you, you know. So now we're going to go, what is the lesson or the purpose of all this crazy fucking energy? Okay, so we have like, what is the purpose of this energy? What is the purpose? And I saw this one, so let's see. And we have legacy of light. So definitely this is like trying to teach you to not stay in the darkness, you know, because if you see darkness and then light, so definitely legacy of light. So definitely, and you have like the mother goddess or different phases of your life. You see, So like the purpose is like really going through the natural cycles of your life, perhaps like inner child, the things that you're learning now, and then accessing the crone, like the wisdom. Okay. And definitely understanding that it is good to do the shadow work, and it's great to go through the darkness, because you need to go through the darkness in order to understand your light. We cannot avoid that. We need to understand that there is both, both sides of you, and both aspects of you show you who you are. So definitely, like, the hidden purpose is to really learn how to stand your ground, be a little bit more centered with all the chaos, and really try to access, because definitely this is like teaching you like all the stuff from childhood, getting to your authentic self and really tapping into the person who you really were before society, got their hands on you, basically. Okay. And if you see, let me show you, there's light in all three cards. You have the light here, you have the light shining through this eclipse here, and then you have, it says here, the legacy of light. Okay. So the lesson here is that even in our greatest darkness, even when it's willingly or unwillingly, like if you find yourself in a shadow period and you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do here, understand that even if you don't know what you're doing, that you need to understand your darkness to see the light. And the darkness is a time where it needs the most compassion and understanding. You see, because when people hear shadow work, for some reason it just builds up this fear, because they are afraid of their shadow, perhaps because there's like really dark emotions there, perhaps like rage, violence, severe depression, and suicidal, or things like that, but what people don't understand is that the shadow parts of us is the parts that are misunderstood. Those are the parts that we weren't taught to process and to really understand why we have these shadow parts of ourselves. And so I feel like when you shift the perspective and you shed light on the shadow, and you offer it compassion, you offer it love, you offer it consolation, you nurture that child within, the hurt within, you will see that the shadow, it is not as bad as we pertain it to be. If you see throughout, religion and spirituality, there's a lot of misconceptions about a lot of, different types of beliefs, and I feel like our shadow self is one of them. People fear it. I think maybe also because of the word shadow, but it's just, they have to exist. There is that darkness in everybody, and we need to shed light on it, because that's how we're going to able to process these shadow parts of ourselves and really bring to light, what is underlying. Like if you ever heard, underneath anger was grief. So that's what I'm trying to say. In our shadows, we have to understand that whatever shadow qualities we have, whatever shadow emotions we have, there is an underlying emotion, a real foundation, real firm, a real firm, like, emotion that is the real emotion that we're actually really feeling. But since we don't know how to process, we're confusing it, or it's showing as a different emotion. So perhaps you never got to grieve for yourself. You never got to grieve the things that you went through. Perhaps you have this resentment, but deep down what it really is just unprocessed sadness, and you didn't get to grieve what you went through, or there was no type of validation. Okay, because everything stems from the childhood, or in our earlier years. There's always impressionable marks in our lives. Okay, so we need to go back to the beginning to move forward, to see the future. Okay, so definitely, like, accessing your inner light, your childhood, and really tapping into, the wisdom, because you see it's on top, it's connected to her head or third eye. So really tapping into that inner light, in that inner wisdom, to shed light on the issues you may be feeling, like the sadness and the isolation that you may be undergoing. So then now we're going to go is like what can we do to shift this what the fuck moments, you know, this chaotic energy that's happening. And we have, let's see, what can we do to shift these crazy stuff that's happening to us. And we have, I saw 2, so I'm gonna see 2. Let's see, choices, and then we have, because I saw them next to me, and let go. You see, so definitely for this process to even start to begin, we have to make the conscious choice. Okay, we have to make the conscious choice to change, because change cannot happen without you. Well, it can, but it can be a really, really rough ride. Okay, and you know, you need to let go of the things that no longer serve you. See, again, there's light, there's like shadow stuff, like thorny, like branch, I guess, you know, and there's light behind it. So in order to access that light, that legacy of light, as we were talking about before, I'm just going to show you, you know, you need to let go. You know, you could dip into the shadow and not stay there. Okay, because shadow work doesn't mean staying there. It means going in, shedding light on whatever is trying to grab at you first, and then releasing that, you know, because see it like that, you know, like you're in a cave, it's a dark cave, you know, and for example, you walk into this dark cave and anger just comes at you and tries to grab you. Then you, when you're firm and grounded and you have that courage, that bravery, you can grab the anger and bring it into the light and say, I understand. But instead of with anger or meeting anger with anger, this is where the self-mastery comes in, the awareness comes in. And instead of fighting your anger with anger, you hug it instead. So you grab the anger and you hug it and you say, I know why you're angry. I know it's because you feel unheard. You don't feel validated enough. You know, you were neglected or you were abandoned. You hug that anger. You go, I understand why you're angry. And it's totally valid. But it's time to let go. It's time to make a choice to let go. And that's how I would like you guys to process your shadow, by personifying these emotions. So going in and you go back in, you know, and try to relate to the memory, you know. So like if you grab, anger is trying to grab at you and you grab and you go, I understand why you're angry. Hug it and you say, tell me, why are you angry? Perhaps it's a memory. Perhaps there was an important situation where you underwent bullying or something, and you told your parents, and your parents just basically just said, oh, you were dramatic, or, you know, you're probably making it up, or they probably were just playing. It's that moment, it's that memory that's connected to that anger. Okay? Or, you know, you grab that anger and the anger tells you, oh, it's because, you know, I've been betrayed many times. You know, or even it could be even from yourself saying, you know, oh, I have allowed people to treat me in such a way, and I'm more angry at you for allowing me to be here in the shadow. You understand? So you grab that anger and you say, I understand, you know, but it's okay, because everything is a lesson we've learned, and there is no need to stay in this cave. That we need you and me as light and shadow. We need to agree and come with me into the light, so you can be released, so you can live on this side of the cave. Okay, so that's how you can approach your own healing. Okay, so you do that with all those deep saddened emotions. You know, don't look at it as with fear, because if you go into the cave and anger grabs at you and you're afraid, what you're going to do, you're going to run back out. You're going to be like, I can't go back in there. And anger, what it's going to do, it's going to say, you see, it ran away from me. So instead of just staying at the same, it's going to fester and it's going to grow and it's going to grow until you can't take it no more. And then you will find yourself like this, sad and isolated, Okay, so just really go into that, and grab at the emotions, even if they come at you, but stand firm, stand your ground. Okay, not just internally, externally with people around you, but if you want to change, your external, you got to do it from within first. Okay, because by understanding yourself first and wanting to treat yourself better, you're going to want the outside to reflect that, and you're going to want the outside to treat you better. So in order for outside to do that, for outside to happen, you have to do it for yourself first. And it takes work. I'm not saying that it's easy. A lot of people tell me, I hate shadow work. I go, who doesn't? I fucking hate shadow work too. Well, not really. I'm not gonna lie. I do like shadow work. But I don't know if maybe it's because I like to think a lot and really analyze things. Perhaps that's my Aries in the house of Scorpio probably. I like to analyze things, but I do often hear from my clients, I hate shadow work. We all do. But there are things that are necessary for our overall wellness, and that is shadow work. Okay, because love and light is great. I'm not saying, oh, we can't. It's good to be positive, because you need to use the light to conquer the shadow. So I'm not saying you can't be love and light and you can't be a person of light, because you do need it to shed light on the shadow. But you can't just completely ignore the shadow either, because then it's like you have like anger there festering, and then you have like all these other ugly emotions there like festering, and it's just going to get to a point where something's going to happen and it's going to trigger you, and you're just going to you're going to spill out, and you're going to vomit all these emotions that you're holding deep, deep, deep within your body. Okay, so you definitely have to make the conscious choice and let go, and I will say like that would probably be one of the best ways, well, not best ways, but one of the ways that you can go about, doing your shadow work. Try to see it more like a person, personify these things, and really show it. Don't show it fear, don't react in anger, because you cannot fight fire with fire. Okay, so you need to embrace these feelings and show them love and compassion, because that is what our shadow parts are. It is the feelings that have not been shown compassion, or who are very deeply misunderstood. Okay, so I'm going to do a Pleiadian message. So I'm going to tap into my guide, Sarah, and see what she wants to say here. So I'm going to, what do you want, Sarah? Tell me. I'm going to say choose a card here. I saw this one, and let's see what this is. Okay. And we have Mother Earth. So let's see. Oh, divine beings, you are part of Mother Earth. You are connected to the deepest of her roots that stem all the way down to the core. You are what makes this world go round. So you must take care of it. You need to tap into the world within so that it can be reflected outside. Nurture yourself the way you would nurture Mother Earth. Drink lots of water, eat right. Give yourself the love that you require. Connect yourself with Mother Earth. Give yourself the opportunity to ground yourself. And through the lights of the sun and through the breeze of the air, you will fully understand what has been happening from the chaos within. Mother Earth asks you to connect with her so she can help you in this process as you go deep into your own self and dig deep into your own dirt to uncover the sadness, the loss that has been trying to bloom through the surface. water it, and allow it to grow. And you will see all this time that they have all been flowers. So that is a message from Sarah, from my Pleiadian guide Sarah. That was a very interesting one. So that is the end of this week's What the Fuck forecast. I hope you enjoyed the video. So please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If you feel like someone can benefit from the messages, please feel free to share it with them. Thank you, of course, for watching. If you've always been watching my videos, thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. I love you guys so much. And if for those who are new, you want to follow me on the rest of my social media, it will be down in the description box. And I will see you guys all next week. Thank you so much again, and have a great rest of your week. And please, just hug yourself and do the shadow work, all right? Have a great, great, great rest of your week. Bye.